Okay, so I just bought a bunch of batteries for my solar setup, some supplies from J-Car, big roll of wire cable. So all up there's 8 batteries, 6 volts each. Each battery is 220 amp hours. Apparently this says 210, but it's actually 220. Gonna wire them up in series, making 12 volts. But before I do that, I have to remove this box from the wall. That's where I'm gonna mount the setup. Gonna put a bit of plywood or something on that wall, screw it in, and then I could screw my inverter and charge controller to that. But that's in the way. So to get this off, it's mounted up the top there, and on the inside there's a couple of bolts. So I've got it propped up with a bit of timber. Hopefully that won't let it fall on me, and see if I can remove it. Okay, so that's off the wall. It's just dangling there now, so I need to figure out how to move it. Okay, this is how I'm going to move it. Got it sitting on a skateboard. Just going to push it out the door. So now that's out of the way, this is where I'm going to be putting it. Put a bit of timber plywood on there and screw everything to it. And this is how I'm thinking of doing it. Putting timber on both sides, screwing it in, and then supported down the bottom here. Just cut these little offcuts, hammered them in there, each corner, and then I'll have one down the middle, and then I'll just screw them in from the side, and that should be strong enough. Okay, so that framework's all up. What I'm going to have to do now is wait till tomorrow to get a bit of plywood, cut it to the right size and screw it on. So for now, I'm going to be building a rack that sits along here, and that's going to hold the battery. So the batteries are going to sit under the charge controller and the inverter. So I'm going to try use this door off this cabinet and use that as a shelf, reusing the old material. I've got the 2 side supports, so I'm just going to put 2 more in the center, and that'll sit over this bit of steel that was put there, make it a bit stronger. And then I'll do some leg supports coming down. We'll see how that goes. I don't know why I was screwing that on the ground. I've got some sawhorses here, so I'll set it up on that. It might make it a bit easier. Is prop a bit of timber, cut the angle, that's going to sit along here, down and rest on this bit of concrete here, so it's going to go straight up on an angle, On that, I'll probably have 3 of them, so one on each end and then one directly in the middle. And that should be strong enough. So let's try work that out. Okay, so I think I've got this worked out. That mark there is what I'm going to be cutting off, and then on the other side I've got that angle which will sit up on top of the shelf. So now I've got that angle there. I'm going to set the drop saw to the right angle, lock it in, cut it off square, and then I can use that as a template for the rest. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. Nice flush angle up the top, meets onto the concrete like that, and that should be plenty of support to keep this shelf up. So I'm going to screw this one in because I need to use this timber here holding it up to cut the rest. But first I better trace that onto that timber so I can get the same angle right. So we'll do that now. So what I've done there is I marked it a little higher, gives me a bit of room down the bottom and up the top to play with in case it needs to be shorter or longer. So I'm going to cut the other two and then install them. Okay, so I've got it all clamped, so what I want to do now is put some screws up on that angle iron up into the timber just to stop it from coming back off the wall, and then I can properly secure these leg supports without it all slipping forward and get an accurate level. So I'm going to do that now. Just drill that screw up through that to support it. There's the level. Not looking too bad. So yeah, now it's just one more support in the middle, right there, and that should do it. So from afar, that's how it looks. So all of these batteries here are going to be put on that shelf right there. Everything mounted on the top. So I'll have to continue this tomorrow. That's all I can do for tonight.